The 2025 Fide World Cup is currently ongoing. Every now and again, something I like to call a tragic comedy happens in top level chess, and today was one of those days. Wesley so resigned in a drawn position with the black pieces against GM Titas Streamvicius, a grandmaster from Lithuania. We're going to go over why this position is a draw. Amazing. How it came to this position where he's down a piece, how Wesley so clawed his way back from being down a piece in the middle game to a draw. And we're going to go over some opening motifs in the Queen's Gambit. It's a very nice game. Let's get into it. But Fide, the country of Fide. Petition 2. Give this man a face. Imagine eliminating Wesley So in a classical game and you don't even have a face. They don't even give you a face. Crazy world. But we get a Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation. It's never too late to throw a chess game. Wesley So is not going to get all too much sleep tonight. But we get pawn to h3. So what is the point of pawn to h3? Because we should learn alongside this game. The point of pawn to h3 is that it neutralizes the idea knight to h5. Knight h5 is a move black would love to play to get rid of this bishop or force it back. But now it'll force it back on the same diagonal. The bishop did not get worse. The knight did get worse. So white gained a little bit of an advantage. Quick math. We got queen b6, and what would you play in this position? Many queen's pawn players would go queen to b3. A common motif, they learn these doubled pawns can be good. They can be. In this position, it is not. Very position specific. So queen b1, queen c1, queen c2, all within the realm of possibilities. The reason you wouldn't want these double isolated pawns right now, because the bishop doesn't see a6. The bishop did see a6, it'd be good. But since it doesn't, this knight comes to a6 and will blockade the double isolated pawns. And you cannot argue that this rook gives you enough compensation. So we get queen c2. Wesley's like g6. Pretty thematic. Creates a dark squared weakness, but threatens bishop to f5. Kicking the queen back furthermore. What would you play in this position? An interesting idea would have been to go bishop d3. You might be like, Balkan Dad, that leads to a deflection tactic. It actually doesn't. Because if black takes the pawn, they are losing. That is the oh so poisonous pawn that if you ever want to take it, you have to make sure it's theory and you have to make sure it's good. Don't just go pawn grabbing. But okay, we don't get bishop d3. We got queen back to c1. Fine. Castles, g4. Titas Streamvicius came to play. Where's the bishop going to go? It's going to jump in, not back. Wesley is not a passive player, so we got bishop to e4, pinning the knight to the rook. He decides to maintain the pin, but guard his knight. Castles, and okay, positional puzzle here. There's only one move that is not losing for black. Try to find it. But this reminded me of the game between Fide and Wesley in the US Chess Championship, where Fide had mate and 4 on the board. Wesley didn't resign. And he ended up drawing that position. Amazing stuff. That's why, same thing against Hans Niemann, Abhimanyu Mishra. People are like, why didn't Abhimanyu resign? And then every keyboard warrior Anon account that can't tie their face to their opinion is like, oh, well, he resigned because of blah, blah, blah. Like, did you ask him? Were you there? Did he tell you? You don't know why he didn't resign. It's you can speculate, but maybe his dad told him not to resign. Maybe his family, maybe his coach, maybe he's saved a position similar. You can just speculate until they say. So, not everything is black or white. Bishop takes f3 is the correct move. Why? Because if you don't take the knight, they move the knight back and go pawn f3, and this dark squared bishop is trapped. So they snap the knight, bishop takes, correct. And find the next move. Well, there's many, but he connects the rook. And now another positional puzzle. Who has the bishop pair? White. Who wants to blow open the board then? White does. On e4. A very good understanding of the position. You might be like, well, he has an IQP. IQPs aren't inherently weak. They're weak the closer it gets to an endgame. There are a lot of pieces on the board, and if white can play the move pawn to d5, he gets rid of his IQP, gets rid of the pawn on c6, opens the board furthermore, which is good for the bishop pair. And good things happen. So he could have done this. He could have taken the bishop now, but he didn't. And white does not give him another chance. He retreats. Now, what's crazy is if you read any positional book here, they tell you go knight d5. Blockade the IQP. It's a tale as old as time. Past pawns get moving. You want to stop d5 on its face. Wesley goes queen d7. White should really go pawn to d5 now. If he takes with the f knight, he loses. There is a tactic in the midst. The knight can't take due to the pin. Black steps out of the pin into another pin in a4. Now, okay, he could take with this guy, but then g5 kicks the knight away, disconnects everything. You could take with the pawn, but again, good for white. Instead, he went queen b3, preparing pawn to d5, but this gave Wesley just enough time to blockade the IQP and x-ray guard b7. We get bishop to e5 and Wesley blunders. Wesley blunders. He spends 3 minutes and goes rook e8, which is a blunder because, drum roll. Oof, was that annoying for the microphone? g5. Very good move. Also, keep sending your recommendations. I got a comment on the Banco video. I was like, oh, so people do want this. I'm going to do a Banco video. That's how this thing works. So thank you again for the comment. Great guy. Pawn to g5, knight takes. Look at this. Look at this. 8 minutes took him. Calculated. Boom, switch. Take, 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 take. Pawn 1 away from promoting. Clamp. Clamp. Computer doesn't even know it. Put that bar back up. Put some respect on his name. And I've said give this man a face. Congrats. I wish Titas luck in this tournament. It must feel good to beat Wesley So in a classical game. The only way to beat this guy is if he resigns in a not losing position. Imagine being that good at the game. But at the end of the day, this is the position we get. Wesley is down a whole piece and claws back. Very good. Attack the IQP. He claws himself back to a draw from this position. So why are you resigning down a pawn? Don't do that. This guy's down a piece and he clawed his way back. And then, oof. So, okay, you want to trade a set of major pieces, which he does. And white does not find a winning idea. Wesley's like, okay, maybe in the future, barring a blunder of a queen, there is a perpetual box. So pawn on h4 is very nice. Black's chilling. Black's like, I don't need to win this. I need to draw this. Titas looking for a way to win. Wesley's like, okay, I'm just going to get my kingside pawns rolling. Correct. Correct. This is a draw if they trade, because 2 on 0 majority ties the bishop and king down to the king side. If anybody's playing that for a win, it is black, but it would be a draw. He had to leave queens on the board, but he goes for this. Wesley's like, wait, this is just a draw. Now, maybe Wesley knew this was drawn, and then he realized he pushed his pawn too quickly, which allowed Titas to now blockade them on the dark squares. This bishop owns these pawns, very common in endgame compositions. And maybe Wesley was tilted, but okay, he's still fighting. We get the padlock, right? If push, push. If push, take, take, take. That would never happen. But, like, okay, I'm going to go over this. And Wesley, yes, thought he was in Zook's one. And Titas messed up. He had to poke and prod and make Wesley run out of pawn moves and go from there. He pushed the pawn. So white runs out of pawn moves first, which we've discussed is not what you want to do. He has the right, he has everything going for him. The correct rook pawn, the blockaded pawns. And in this position, Wesley played king g4 and resigned. White plays king e3. I believe king e3 was actually played and Wesley resigned here because it wouldn't make sense to resign on your opponent's move. What he didn't realize is that every single king move is a draw. Every single king move is a draw. Yes, the king comes to f3, but you're not forced to go king back. You have this nice trick of promoting, forcing them to take, and clearing the h3 square for your king. Now, it's still not obvious, but this king cannot go anywhere. If this king goes anywhere, you just push, and this is a drawn endgame, because even though white captures the pawn first, they have to step back on the b file. So even though you promote one slower, you promote with check. Queen versus queen should be a draw last time I checked, barring a skewer. So that means this bishop that's locked in by the king, that's the key, can only go to g2, and now this king steps up to h2. And this was all forced. Like, had he just played one more move, this would have happened. Gotta feel for Wesley, but Titas, go have the tournament of your life. Now, the king cannot go away, so bishop would have to come to f1. Now, king to g1. Now, if white gets tilted and takes, he loses, because black captures the pawn first. So this is craziness. And regardless of where you put the bishop, you just go king h2. Look at this, king g1, stalemate. Stalemate. So the bishop moves, and it's just a draw. This is so beautiful. A tragic comedy for sure. Craziness. Crazy, crazy, craziness. Don't resign in chess. It's never too late to throw a chess game, no matter what level you are. Thank you as always for watching. Have a great day. Peace.